Jawaharlal Nehru, a man who is hailed as a liberal icon and a champion of democracy. But Nehru has another face that not many people know. Despite 12 of the 15 Pradesh Congress committees voting for Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Nehru came through the back door to become Congress president and thereon India's first prime minister, leveraging his rapport with Gandhi. Years later, Nehru issued directions to his ministers to not attend Sardar Patel's funeral. This subtle sidelining of Sardar Patel by Nehru gives a glimpse of his democratic and liberal credentials. Nehru also tried to prevent Rajendra Prasad from becoming president by lying to him about having consulted Sardar Patel to put forward Rajaji's name for interim president. Rajendra Prasad called out Nehru's bluff by sending his letter to Sardar Patel. Caught lying, Nehru struck an apologetic letter to Rajendra Prasad admitting to his lie. Patel, in a letter to Prasad, pacified him, saying that Nehru was overburdened with work and that every word of his shouldn't be weighed. The matter was put to rest with Rajendra Prasad putting the matter behind, but Nehru held his grudge against Prasad. Addressing the Indian Law Institute, Rajendra Prasad had suggested that Supreme Court should define the powers of the President and Prime Minister. Nehru was so annoyed by this speech that he forced the chairman of the institute to not circulate Rajendra Prasad's speech. By doing so, the freedom of speech was denied to the President of India himself by Nehru. There are several such incidents that shatters the image of Nehru being the beacon of democracy that he is portrayed to be. It was Nehru who introduced the First Amendment to the Constitution to curb free speech in a bid to crack down on political opponents and the press critical of his government. In 1950, Romila Thapar's brother, Romesh Thapar, criticized Nehru in his journal Crossroads. Nehru banned the journal. The RSS mouthpiece organizer was gagged and its publishers prosecuted by the Nehru government for carrying articles critical of the Nehru-Liaquat Pact. Both organizer and Romesh Thapar went to the Supreme Court and won the case. But Nehru overturned the Supreme Court's ruling by passing the First Amendment to the Constitution. Nehru's government passed the draconian Press Objectionable Matter Act 1951 that put severe restraints on the press, much like the Vernacular Press Act imposed by the British. Ads to Times of India were discontinued for speaking against government policies. Not just organizations, individuals too were targeted. Poet and lyricist Majru Sultanpuri was jailed for a year for a poem that he wrote critical of Nehru, comparing him with Hitler. Civil servant A.D. Gorwala, a vocal critic of Nehru who wrote columns for Times of India under the pseudonym Vivek, was discontinued at the insistence of Nehru. In another incident, the late Gandhian thinker Dharampal had penned an open letter to the members of parliament asking for Nehru's resignation on moral grounds for leading India to a humiliating defeat in the war with China. He, along with his friends Narendranath Datta and Roop Narayan, who were also signatories to the letter, were slapped with sedition charges for their anti-national activity and were imprisoned in the Tihar jail. His attack on free speech spilled over to books as well. Stanley Walport's book 9 Hours to Rama, a fictional account of Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, was banned by Nehru. The film, based on the same book with the same title that sought to show Nathuram Godse's side of the story, was also banned. In fact, Nehru banned Godse's testimony from being made public. Several other books like Chandramohini, Rama Retold, The Heart of India, Ceasefire, Captive Kashmir, Dark Urge were banned by the Nehru government. In total, over 16 books were banned during the Nehru years. Not just books, many movies were banned by Nehru. Bhool Na Jana, a film based on the 1962 Indo-China War, was shelved by Nehru due to his policy towards China. Mrinal Sen's Neel Akasher Niche was banned. The film Ganga Jamuna was blocked. The landmark Tamil film Shivaji Ganeshan's Parashakti was blocked. The Malayalam play Ningalenne Communistaki was banned. Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay's play Mahesh was banned. Even Rabindranath Tagore's works were not spared. Tagore's plays Gora and Visarjan were banned. At least 26 songs of Tagore were banned in the All India Radio, Calcutta. In fact, Nehru curbing All India Radio is a separate chapter altogether. The Nehru government sacked Lata Mangeshkar's brother Hridaynath Mangeshkar from the All India Radio for reciting Veer Savarkar's poem. Nehru continued to keep the ban on musical instrument harmonium imposed by the British, as he hated the harmonium. The Nehru government even banned film songs and Western pop music to be played on All India Radio. Nehru cracked down on political opponents as well. Congress leaders demanding Nehru's resignation were arrested and jailed. In 1959, Nehru, at the insistence of his daughter Indira Gandhi, whom he had elevated as the Congress president that year, toppled the first ever non-Congress government that was formed under communist leader E.M.S. Namboodiripad in Kerala. He also proved to be a man of short temper. In late 1934 or early 1935, Nehru, who was addressing a public meeting in Delhi, slapped a man standing near the mic and started shouting at him as if something terrible had happened. But it was just the mic which had faulted. When the mic started working again, Nehru was heard saying, "The leaders of the Congress in Delhi are low-bred, mean and mindless people. I have told them time and time again not to invite me if they cannot make proper arrangements. But they pay no heed." In another incident, Nehru was being escorted by a cordon of Congress volunteers after addressing a meeting. When people came forward to take a glimpse of him and touch his feet, Nehru started slapping with both his hands and kicking with both his feet at people who came near him. Such has been the attitude of Nehru to a common Indian. So the next time Nehru apologists hail him as the epitome of liberalism and democracy, remind them of these instances that exposes Nehru's true colors.